Hello. This video will demonstrate a new browser extension which you can use to organize the pages links on the Canvas Pages page. So you can group your pages into folders to organize them in a more convenient way. So this video will take you through the various features of this extension, and there is a list, there's a timetable below in the description which tells you where to find the various chapters, and you can click on the links in that timetable to get to these different chapters. And those are first the main menu and the folder view, and then the basic operations with the folders, creating, renaming, moving and deleting folders, and also moving pages into and between folders, and you can also move folders into folders. And then I will go through group operations where you can move multiple items in one operation. I will also talk about resetting folder structures when you just erase the things you have created if you're not satisfied with them. You can also back up a folder structure to a local file and then use it to restore into the extension. I will talk about an experimental feature that's called Sync, where multiple users can share the same folder structure in a synchronized way. I will also take you through the various options that you can customize this extension with, and about the options page where you can find those options. And lastly, I will go through how you can download and install this extension and how to disable it if you feel the need. So first I will show you the main menu and folder view. So when you go to the Canvas course that you're interested in and choose the Pages page, I apologize for this all being in Swedish, but this means the pages. So you will notice that on the Pages page there are two icons at the top if you have installed this extension. One is the actual extension icon, it's this one, and if you hover over that, the main menu will appear, and I will go through the items on this main menu. The second icon shows that you're operating in local mode. This is default mode, which means that all the things you do with folders on your computer will only affect your computer, and no one else will notice the organization that you make to your pages. That is as opposed to sync mode, which I will cover later. But in order to get to the folder view, you just choose the top item of this menu, and now you're shown the page folder list. And right now it contains no folders because I haven't created any. But this list then shows the pages, and just like in the regular Pages page, each link here goes to showing the actual page where you can edit it. And this green dot will signify that this page is published, as it says here in the text. You can all the time, anytime, toggle between this view and the regular standard Canvas Pages view. I will now go through how you can create and manipulate folders. So this is now the basic operations chapter about creating, renaming, moving and deleting folders, and also moving pages and other folders into and between folders. So in this list there are pages that belong to different teachers and their parts of the course. So it would be logical to organize each teachers' part of the course and the pages that belong to those into one folder. And I am one of those teachers, so I will now create a folder for my own lectures and my own part of the course. Therefore, I click New Folder, and I enter here Dance Lectures, because my name is Dan. And now I have created a folder which is called Dance Lectures, and the folders will be sorted at the top of the list, and the list is then alphabetically sorted. Right now there are no other ways to sort the list. Might come later. Now, right now this folder is empty. If I click on it, I get into the contents of the folders, which are none, and I can go back to this start point, which is called root. This is a root directory, and now I can take my lectures and move them into this folder. So here is one of my lectures. It's about the cell nucleus, and in order to move it, I click this little ellipsis button, and you see it says Page Actions. And this page I will now move to the folder, so I choose Move to Folder here from this menu. And then I get a selection. Which folder should I move it to? Yes, there is now only one folder to choose, but so I choose that one. And now I'm in that Dance Lectures folder, and I move my lecture here. So now this page is gone from the root directory, and it's now can be found in this folder. And I can go on with my other lectures. So I move this one the same way, and I can go on with all the other lectures, so that all my lectures all the pages that belong to my lectures are found in this folder. I can of course now create another folder for another teacher, and then I can move his I guess one of his lectures. I can move that to his folder, and I can also make subfolders. So in my folder, I might want to make a subfolder. Let's just call it subfolder for the moment. And I can move pages into that subfolder, not only from this folder where the subfolder is situated, but also right away from here. So this is one of my other lectures. I can move that to a folder. I can then go directly to the subfolder and move it there. And I can also create a folder at the same time as I move a page. So here is yet another part of the course which should have its own folder. So now I move this to a folder, but this folder does not exist yet. I can create it now by clicking on this plus sign here. So now I will move this item, which is in yellow here, to a new folder which is situated in the root directory, or I can choose some other folder, but now I choose the root directory. If I click here, I can name this Human Rights, which is the topic of this part of the course. And now in the Human Rights folder, I created the Human Rights folder, and I also moved this lecture to that folder in one operation. I might not be satisfied with the name of the folder, so maybe I can change that. So if I click on this ellipsis button for the folder, I get the option to rename the folder. So I can maybe say like this. So now the folder is renamed. And I can also take away a folder. Maybe I change my mind. I don't want to have my lectures collected like this, grouped like this. So then I can just delete the folder. I get a warning alert here says that all the contents will then be moved to the parent folder, which is the root directory. And now you see that the pages that were in that folder are now in the root directory, and the subfolder, which was in that folder, which I deleted, is still there, and its contents, but that they are now moved to the root directory, to the parent directory of the one that was deleted. I think I'll delete that one too. So. Now, all the things that can be done in the regular standard folder list, standard page list of the Canvas standard page view cannot be, all the operations cannot be done on the pages in this view. So if you see here, all the things that belong to this ellipsis button over here in the standard view, they are not supported in this view. But you don't have to go to the entire standard pages view in Canvas, because this list might be very long. This might contain hundreds of pages, and it's not very convenient to find it in this list. You might want to find it here. So if you click on one of these items here, you can also choose View Page List Entry. And if you do that, you go to the page list, but you specifically select that page, and then you can do the things you want to do. You can perform the operations that you want to on this page without having to search for it among a great many pages. And so if you are in, but you can also now show all the pages, or you can return to folder view with this button, which is the same thing as this menu item. So if you have a large number of pages, it's convenient to find that page in one of the folders, and then ask for the page list entry, and then you can do the operations like renaming or copying or removing this item in the regular standard view. And once again, I can go back to the folder view, and I will land in the folder where I came from. So this way you can add individual single items to different folders, but often you have quite a lot of pages that you would like to move into one folder, into one go. And therefore there are also what's called group operations, which I will now demonstrate. So, for instance, this teacher has at least 2 more lectures that should go into his folder. This one, and I can now move them together, collectively, into that folder by checking these boxes out here. And when I do that, this ellipsis button will now be enabled, will be blue, and this also brings forth a menu, and here I can choose Move to Folder, and now when I choose Ola's lectures here, they will both be moved at the same time to this folder. So now I have 3 items in this folder. And I can now also choose all my folders, because I changed my mind again, and I will choose all my pages here, quite a lot of them, and I can now move them into a folder that I create on the fly, like this. So now I created a folder and I moved 6 pages into that folder in one go using these group operations. And I can also choose to view a group of pages in the standard view. Like I want to look at all these 4 and do things to them in the standard pages list. I can do that like this, and they all 4 of them now appear in the standard view. And I can also now choose to uncheck them all by using this button here, and I can also check every item in a particular view by this button. So that was group operations. Now it could happen that I find myself gone lost into these complicated folder structures, and I want to start again from scratch. I want to create everything anew, and I do that by choosing from this main menu the Reset Folder Structure item. And I will now be warned that I will be erasing all folders, and that doesn't mean that any pages will be erased, of course, but just the folders, and everything that was in those folders will now be put in the root directory. I will come back to backup files and storage pages. They belong to items that I have not talked about yet. So now I have just erased everything, and note there is no undoing this, so you make sure that you know that you really want to do this. And so that is the reset feature. Now let's say that I have now rebuilt my folders again with quite a lot of effort, and I'm afraid that I might do something stupid with this structure that I am very pleased with right now. So I want to save this organization of pages into these folders like this before I jumble things up. And then to do that, I choose the backup and restore folder data item from the main menu. And if you have done this a lot of times, you can just go ahead. If you are new to this, you can read this information text to make sure that you know what you're doing. But there are basically 2 things. You can back up the present folder data, so you can save that structure into a file that you save locally on your computer, or you can use such a file to restore, to read into this extension and adopt that organization of folders. I also ask you to note that this is not an automated backup feature, so every time you want a backup, you have to manually choose this option, this item. So if I now choose to backup the present folder data, I will be asked to choose a file name like this, and then to save it. And then I will have this. I can save that anywhere I like on my computer, and it is a text file. Of course, you shouldn't tamper with this file because it contains data stored in a specific format, the JSON format. So you should not try to edit it in a text editor or something like that. But let's now say that I mess things up again, and I do this reset. I feel I have to do this reset operation once again. And now I want to go back to the structure I really liked and that I saved. as a backup file. So now I can choose restore. So once again I go to backup restore folder data like this, but now I choose restore. So when I do that, I can then choose this file that I liked, and you can see here that the way this data are saved in the text file in the JSON format. And now if I open this file, I will get an alert that says if I click OK, then the current folder structure, which I don't have, there is no current folder structure as it happens, but that will be replaced with the one that was stored in the backup file. And if I had another folder structure currently in the extension, that would be erased. So now you can see that I get my folder structure back. I have these 3 folders that I had constructed before when I saved the backup file, sorry. So backup and restore are very convenient if you put a lot of effort into constructing elaborate folder structures that you don't want to go missing. So up to now I have been talking about how you can organize pages, a list of pages into folders locally on your own computer. The things you do in local mode, the thing I've shown you so far, will not affect how the pages page will look to any other user at all. But there might be situations where a group of people want to have a shared folder structure, just like in the files page in Canvas. When someone creates a folder in the files page, that folder will be shared by everyone. Everyone will see that, and if files are put there, that will be how it looks for everyone. I can of course not do that with an extension, but if a group of users all install this extension and then decide to have a joint folder, a shared folder structure, that can be accomplished using the sync feature. And I have to stress that this is a beta, that this is somewhat experimental, and so you should take care when you use it, and preferably use the backup feature if you are working with elaborate folder structures that take a lot of time. So let's have a look at what sync is. So if you want to use sync, you go to the main menu again and choose Enable Disable Sync. And there's a long text here which introduces the user to sync, and one of the core features here is that you have to create a specific page on the page in this Canvas space. You have to exclusively create a page which is not used for anything else than storage of this shared folder structure. Then everyone that enters this page's URL into the extension will then have the possibility of syncing their own folder structure with the one that is stored in the storage page. But right now there is no storage page here, so I will first have to create one. So I will just have to create a new page, and I will call it sync page, or maybe even sync storage page, because that's also the extension calls this. And this field should be left empty. There should be no other actions taken on this page other than giving it a name and saving it. And then if I go to show all pages, and then to the page folder list, I will see that this page is now represented in this list, and what I need now is to take its URL. So I just right click and say copy link address. This address will have to be used when I go back to this sync feature, and now when I click enable sync, it says, has a storage page been created? If so, enter its URL here. So I do that, I paste the URL here, and I click sync. And now there will be a little waiting time. And then it says that the extension has found a blank page and has initialized this as a sync storage page, and has now stored the folder structure that was present locally before. So now the same folder structure that I had on my computer before is now stored in this sync storage page. And you can see that a few things have happened now. This icon is changed, so it now says that you're in sync mode, and it also puts this sign here next to the actual storage page, which shows that it's syncing from this. And now, with regular intervals, the extension will check the contents of the sync storage page, and if there are any changes, those changes will now take effect on your own page folder list. So if I change something here and you see that it flashes in red, red means that the syncing is busy. Now it's green, it's idle. And I will come back to how often this syncing takes place and the way it's carried out. But if someone else now would change something here, say like adding yet another folder and putting material in that, putting items in that, that would occur on your list. Also, if you now create a new folder, that will now immediately be written to the storage page. This storage page will change its contents so that this folder will be represented there. So changes that you write are written immediately to the storage page, and other people's changes are also written immediately, but they are then synced with regular intervals to your computer. So we can have a look at how it would look if some other user would change something here. So let's now see what it would look like. Let's say that this window to the right is one user and the window to the left is another user. So if user to the right will now create a new folder, call it right folder. This will of course be created immediately in this window, but there will be a delay. Since both of these pages are syncing to the same storage page, next time sync occurs in this window, the right folder should occur, and you might have to wait a little while. And now we see that there was a red flash to this sync sign, and now this user's the folder that this right-hand user did enter now also shows up in the left-hand window. And now you can also, as the left-hand user, put some file in it or some page in it. Let's do that. So now if you can see that this page is still not in that folder yet, but it will go to that folder as soon as syncing occurs, and we were lucky, so that happened quite fast. So you can see that now this folder has now the same content for both of these users. And you can always choose to exit sync by going to this enable disable sync and uncheck enable sync like this, and then you get a warning message that you will now disable and the sync, and that the folder structure that was last stored locally on your computer will be used instead. So now you see that some of the folders that we added in sync mode now are gone. And actually you can also have several different sync storage pages if you like. So in a way you have more freedom of choice this way than you will have with the files page, where there is only one order that can be imposed at a time. Different users can't have different opinions about how the files should be organized into folders. But here you can actually have different folder structures for different users. Now, the last item of the main menu is go to the options page. So I will now talk a little about the options that are offered by this extension and how you choose between them on the options page. So the main menu has this last item, open options page. You can see now that we are back in local mode, by the way. But if you click open options page, you will have this separate tab opening in your web browser, and there is actually also a link for sending emails to me, to the developer, if you have any opinion about this. You can also, of course, contact me via the CANbase user forum. The default is now shown. It wasn't shown from the beginning, but here are the default options. So you have one option is the initial view, and that is when you go to the Canvas pages page, will you see the regular standard page view, or will you go directly to the folder list, the extensions folder list? And the most conservative option is always the default, so it's unchecked as a default, but I always use this option to go directly to the folder list, to the extensions list, whenever I go to the pages page in Canvas. Then there is the update option, and this requires some explanation, because regardless of whether you are syncing or not in this extension, there is always update, because other users that might or might not use the extension, they might create a new page, or they might delete a page, or they might rename a page, and that information is updated to your to the extensions list of pages and folders, such that the extension with regular intervals check for the names and the existence of the pages and then makes modifications to the extensions list. And that can be done with different intervals. The default is 2 minutes between each time that the extension checks for changes to the pages. And if you are in sync mode, that is also the interval with which sync occurs. So the extension, if you're in sync mode, you will have an update of the pages and an update of the folder structure happening at more or less the same time, with the same interval. So you can go down to 1 minute. You can't go below 1 minute, but you can go above 1 minute, 2 or 3 minutes if you like. And you can also choose how, when updates should take effect on your page, on your list. The most conservative is that you have to reload the page to see any changes. That is actually how the Canvas standard pages list works. You have to reload the page to see any changes. But you can also choose to have the changes take place when you are navigating between folder views. Say that you go into one folder or out of one folder. Each time that happens, there is an update of the pages. And also, if you're in sync, of the folders. Or you can have immediate update, which is what I usually use. So that we saw that before, when we saw that the page sync then took effect on another user's page. I usually use 1 minute and immediately, and this use extension folders. Folder list as initial pages view, but that is up to you, the user. That is these are the different things you can play with here. You can tweak the extension, and in future there might be more different options that you can adjust. So that was the options page. Now, the last chapter of this video is about how you actually install this extension, if you're interested in it. So below this video in the description there is a link that leads to the Chrome Web Store, where you can find the extension here. Here is the extensions page in the Chrome Web Store. And the link that is provided below in the description leads directly here. And what you do to install is simply to click this button, which says add in your favorite language. This is in Swedish, but it says add in English. And if you do that, you will have a text that asks you if you are sure that you want to add this extension, and then you do, like this, and there you will have an alert says that it has been added. And when you then reload your Canvas page, you will have the extension installed. You won't notice that it's there until you go to the Pages page, where you will see these icons I told you about in the start. Now, I have tried, with help of other people, to weed out bugs and errors in the code, so that this should not cause problems. But I cannot, of course, guarantee that this extension won't work seamlessly on your particular computer with other extensions that might run into conflict with this extension. I hope not. But it is very important for a user of an extension to know how to disable an extension. If you find that your Canvas page is acting strangely, and you want to be sure that it's not due to this extension, you must know how to disable the extension. And to do that, you go to Chrome, your Chrome window. At the top right there is this ellipsis which gives you a menu, and under More Tools you can find Extensions. So you go to the Chrome Extensions page this way, or entering Chrome Extensions like that, and I guess most people's extensions page are not as busy as mine, but here we have the extension, and probably you will not in developer mode, so it will look more like this. And so here is the extensions box on the extensions page, And what you do if you want to check if there is any funny stuff going on the Pages page in Canvas, and you want to make sure that it's not due to the this extension, is that you can disable it. And you do this with this flip switch here. So you just flip it to, and now this extension is disabled. And once you go back to the Canvas Pages page and you reload it, you will see that the Pages page, the list of pages, looks exactly like it did before you installed this extension. And if you indeed find that this extension bothers you and you're not fond of it, you can also choose to remove it. I won't do it now, but then you would have to install it once again to make it operable. But you can choose to disable it, and then it will not do basically anything. And then you can check if you think that there is some trouble that is caused by the extension. And if you do, you're most welcome to contact me. You would then have to either temporarily reinstall the extension and go to the options page and click this link to contact me, or go to the Canvas user forum with a thread about page folders. So this is all that I had to tell you about this extension. And you can, as I said, you can find all the chapters in the link list below in the description, and also the link to the actual installation page, which I just showed you. Thank you for your attention.